What is up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. Today we are here at Lake Julian Disc Golf Course, and we are looking at two mid-ranges that are manufactured by the same company. One is Axiom, one is Mint Discs. And the reason we're checking this out, we're pairing up the Pyro versus the Mint Discs Bobcat, and I don't think that there is a chance of the Bobcat as a mold ever fully kicking the Pyro out of my bag. However, it's in a glow plastic. So if it flies similar enough in this glow plastic that with glow season really getting into full swing, I will have an overstable mid-range that I can rely on. So let's see if it can function as a Pyro. And the main reason why I say I don't think it will ever take over the Pyro slot is because the Pyro is noticeably sharper than most other mid-ranges. So yes, it's a very similar shape, but this wing extends further into the disc than the Bobcat does. So this is a slightly more blunt, slightly less sharp mid-range. Feels great. I've thrown a Bobcat before and it flies great, but let's see if this flies enough like a Pyro. And since Pyro is my go-to forehand disc, we're going to be throwing a lot of forehands today. There is some wind out today. Point and shoot pretty much does exactly what you want. I'd say that's pretty usably similar enough. We are going to be tossing it on different angles, possibly even throw a backhand or two with both of these discs. But we're really going to be leaning into the forehand and seeing if it has what it takes to make at least my glow bag. And since I'm not really looking for a replacement, I'm looking for something I can sub in when conditions turn into darker, more glow style disc golf. I think if they do basically the same shot, we're just gonna give them the same and move on. On the last hole, minuscule difference. One of them caught a little bit more grass on the way to the ground than the other one did, so yeah, the Pyro was a little bit further away from the basket than the Bobcat. It's a slightly faster rim, so it's going to catch a little bit more ground play. That's fine with me. They flew basically the same. They are both rated at 5.4, 2.5. And Mint Discs calls this a 5.4, 2.5 as well. So based off of flight numbers, they should fly comparable enough that we should be able to kind of sub one in out for the other. Granted, this is because we still don't have an Eclipse Pyro yet. Particle Eclipse Hex, Particle Eclipse Fireball, Particle Eclipse, or Particle Proton, whatever. Give me a Pyro. We still don't have a Pyro yet. Okay. That was just me not being warmed up enough to throw this shot. Oh. Yeah, I am not warmed up enough to throw power backhands. We're going to stick to the forehands for now. Whew. I felt that across the middle of my back. Alright, maybe we'll stop throwing backhands and we'll throw some more forehands. But based off results, same. So we pick these up and we move on. Now, I love the Pyro for its forehand torque resistance, for the fact that it kind of flies like a fairway driver with mid-range hand feel. I don't know if it will fully stand up to what the Pyro can do with full distance power, but we haven't fully reached the full distance power here. We're gonna go kind of a placement shot, punch out there, basically flat, and see if it flexes, see if it stables out. How does the Bobcat fly? Get that touch, great shot. Okay. Granted, this is not necessarily a brand new Pyro, but this is a brand new Bobcat. So while I think the Bobcat and the Pyro probably are about the same stability, brand new, I think this Bobcat might be a hair more stable. It also has a slightly different hand feel, so I can't get exactly the same grip on it. It's like the hand feel of a buzz almost. Like a beadless method or a beadless wasp, which is, they had the wasp first from Discraft, and then they created the beadless wasp, the buzz. Hence why they have two similar style names. The Bobcat has that same similar style rim, kind of flat on, well, the Bobcat is very, very flat on top, with a little bit more of a blunt, slightly rounded over shoulder, with that concave style underside. But I'm not super used to forehanding that shape of a rim. So while it flies amazing and is very overstable, I'm going to have to get used to it. Does that not look like a buzz? Yeah, maybe it's just me. And I love the Proton Pyro for how it's able to withstand amazing amounts of torque, amazing amounts of abuse almost, to get it to try to go as far as you're trying to make it go. And it's not necessarily the dumpiest, most overstable disc. It's very controllable, and it's actually somewhat straight for the amount of torque that it can withstand, which is why I think it stands out above other mid-ranges in the same field and above approach discs, because it gets a straighter, less aggressive finish, but still holds up to the torque. That's twice now this has happened, and because it's happened twice, I probably am going to leave both of them in, because it needs to be shown that this has happened. It's the Eclipse plastic. It's too warm, too humid today for the Eclipse to properly grip in my hand. It really only works when it's cold out, and it's not cold out right now. And well, it had a very similar trajectory to the Pyro. It just had two missed releases, one early, one late, versus the Pyro right on, dead on, every time. I know the Pyro that well, and I know the plastic that well, and I have so many of them that they're basically always in whatever lineup of discs I'm playing with for the day. Might have to dig for this Bobcat. But I'm not taking the missed releases out on the Bobcat, because it is for a purpose that I'm not currently using it for. It's not going to be my go-to every day throw a Pyro mid-range. It's not filling that slot. It's filling that I need a reliable overstable approach disc that has very similar flight characteristics to the disc I currently bag, but that glows. The closest I can get in hand feel, the closest I can get in flight, but still having the glowing property. And we haven't even got a particle proton pyro yet, which would be even more peas for Simon Lizotte to play around with. But let's go throw one more hole, and we're going to try to juice it and see if I can't get my classic, I'm going to throw the pyro as far as I can and throw almost 350 shot. The wind might be against us, but we're going to try. Realized as I walked up here, I am too dehydrated and too overheated to really film properly because I've reached this stage in the day, but we're good. We're fine. There's a bit of a tailwind. It's a tail left to right. So it is not the worst possible wind. I would have preferred tail right to left because that would have helped push them and help them carry. Here we're going to have to be super precise, or they're going to get shoved down too low, or they're going to stall out and fade right. The goal here is to throw them on an anhyzer, and with this wind level, it's probably going to be a little bit more of a flat release. Hopefully getting that distance panning flex. And the way we achieve this is by giving it plenty of height. You're going to see power thrown into these that neither one of these, unless you're me. You should never throw these discs this hard, but I'm going to. This is the part where I say it's too easy. I complained about the wind, but it actually worked out pretty much okay. It didn't get as much distance as it has gotten in the past. But that's the shot. That's the distance line if you want to throw a flex forehand pyro. Does the Bobcat hold up to the same amount of torque resistance? Because at medium power levels, it flies close enough. I'm just going to have to learn the hand feel to make it do what I want it to do. It flies close enough for me to opt in to throw one of these. I'm probably never going to have to throw it this hard, but just in case, here's what happens. So there it shows. You can throw it that hard. But when you start to try to power up on it that much, it shows the distance difference between the sharper, faster, more torque resistant and glidier rim of the Pyro than the slightly more blunt edge of the Bobcat. So in this regards, it is kind of in between an approach disc and a mid-range. It'll still give you pretty good distance mid-range style, but it kind of flies a little bit more like an approach disc as far as stability wise. Either way, it's great. Might get to see some more of it come close season. Hopefully you guys enjoy content like this. If so, please make sure to like the video. If you want to see new stuff, make sure to comment all of that down below. Please make sure to subscribe. It helps you guys out with these subscriber-only giveaways. And if you want to be automatically entered into monthly giveaways, check out the memberships as well. Until next time, see you out on the course.